welcome
Great.
everyone. We are inside the cafe of Noma, so Noma Cafe. And so if you're not familiar, I'm sure you all are, but Noma is many times over the #1 restaurant on the planet. So I've just been for a brief little walkthrough. Yesterday, we're joined by Carolyne Lane, by the way. Welcome to the coffee show. Got to go see the fermentation lab. It's big in there. It's big.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Well,
As far as fermentation labs go, pretty roomy.
Yeah, quite roomy. But the whole restaurant as well, it goes down quite a long way. I had no idea.
It's a big place. A lot of us working here.
There is a few. So I haven't got my usual setup. So lighting wise, I don't know how this is going to look at the end, but I think this looks quite nice. Ambient. But we are inside the cafe of the world's best restaurant. So thanks so much for taking the invitation.
Yeah, cheers.
I've been harassing you.
So at this point, Kirk is our biggest regular. We've been open for a grand total of 2 days.
Yeah.
And you've been here somehow 3 days in a row.
Yes. Yeah. Well, a colleague of a friend of mine from Australia who now lives here, who supplies some of your machinery, introduced me on Friday. Callum here, thank you for the introduction. But it's coincidental that I'm in Copenhagen for this weekend. How's it been for the first 2 days of you opening?
Oh, it's been good. We opened completely secretly, right? So yeah, we're just trying to figure out the flow, how things are. Of course, there are many, many things to tweak, but we're opening officially on Tuesday. So tomorrow we'll start telling people we exist.
Right. And like the coffee that you've decided to serve, so you've put together a coffee program and you've been selling roasted coffee for a little while now.
Yeah, about 6 months or so.
So you've gone and sourced it all yourself.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, coffee is one of those things. It's like the last ingredient on the restaurant table that you can source directly, because simply put, coffee farmers are so far away, right? But it tracks that we would do that, given that we have the same, a relationship with the same asparagus farmer for the last 20 years. So it kind of feels like the last little piece of the puzzle.
It's so fascinating. You literally have had a relationship with an asparagus farmer for 20 years.
Yeah, so.
So before you were, so you're the head of coffee for Noma.
Yeah.
And before you took that mantle, you've been working in the restaurant.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are two of us kind of managing this space a little bit. Me, the creative part of the coffee bar, and then another guy called Sebastian. But we worked with each other in the front of house team at Noma for the last 8 years. I actually just came out of service in the new year. Yeah.
You came what, sorry?
Out of service in the new year.
Yeah, right. So you could do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Exactly, to source and roast coffee.
And you moved here from London, I think you were saying, just purely because you wanted to work for Noma.
Yeah, well, I haven't lived in England for a very long time. I was living in Germany, actually.
Yeah, right.
So I worked for a really wonderful little wine bar in a small city called Bielefeld. Shout out Vampur, shout out Torben. And I had a really, really amazing former boss who was very relaxed and let me travel a lot, introduced me to a lot of different farmers, winemakers. And I just got this huge love of food, and I was just interested in everything. But I was young and interested in everything, so I didn't really know where my interests would land. And I thought Noma would be an amazing place to test all of those interests, because you can do everything to a very high level. So I came here, I was 23 at the time. And once I got here, I just never left.
You still look 23 for what it's worth.
Oh, cheers.
You don't look a day over 23. Yeah, well, it must have been an extraordinary, I think there's so much that the specialty coffee industry can learn from the food, the wine industry, and particularly like the fine dining industry, the style of service that gets done at places like this. And I think Noma, in a way, like we'll probably get into this a bit more later, but Noma's probably positioned with the expertise in fermentation in particular to be able to probably have a pretty big impact on coffee.
Potentially. I think at this stage right now, we're trying to, nurture the relationships at farm level. So a lot of it is about minimizing risk for me right now, because we're doing absolutely everything for the first time and at quite a large scale for it being the first time. You know what I mean? Like very few roasteries have the privilege of opening at the scale that we have with the audience that we have. So that's incredible. But in order for me to build that entire supply chain from scratch, it's really important that it's very low risk. So that's why we focus on washed coffees right now. Of course, we like the flavor. We also worked with Tim Wendelbo for a long time, so we have an appetite for washed coffees. But it makes sense in this moment where we're trying to like evaluate the quality of green, you know? To minimize risk.
It's an interesting time that you do get involved because coffee is going through such like a tumultuous change, I guess you'd say, as an industry. So the way that climate change is affecting the industry has really, I think everyone's really become so aware of it in the last 2 years in specialty coffee because, the harvests have been so affected in South America, which has impacted the supply, which has impacted the price. And that's where we are today. Coffee's more expensive than ever.
Yeah.
And it's interesting assessing that paradigm actually coming to Europe because I think I said to you yesterday that Australia and I think the US as well, we do not have a focus on sustainability right now.
Can you maybe describe a little bit more about that? Just because, I mean, for the uninitiated, I've never been to Australia. I've never been to the US.
Yeah, well, I mean, for us particularly, so we were one of the first countries in the world with a carbon tax. So put a price on carbon. And then it got destroyed by basically the opposition at the time just, they campaigned on getting rid of it. And because Australia's biggest industry is mining. Yeah. And so the mining lobby effectively lobbied to get rid of it. And we've never implemented any meaningful climate change policy since. And
when was that?
That was 2014. It got repealed.
Okay.
So over 10 years ago now, the Abbott government. And the sad part is that also because of that, there was a lot of political fighting and stuff like that over how we would generate electricity. Yeah. So we are, so abundant with, sun for solar and wind for wind power. And also we are probably the most resource-rich country on earth, and we've got very little power generation now. So we've got some of the highest power bills in all. So because of the political instability, like nothing's been done. But anyway, just getting people to recycle in Australia is a bit of a battle. Whereas you come to Europe, and it's just like culturally, people are so aware of it. And I think it's been really refreshing for me to see that because in a coffee context. If you want to be a good, member of the coffee community, or citizen of the coffee community, then you kind of need to be somewhat invested in sustainability because all the externalities that we generate that affect coffee farmers, like all the externalities that we do generate, disproportionately affect the people that grow our coffee, which is very self-sabotaging.
Yeah, it's wild, right? Like, I read a statistic the other day that, like, it's particularly in Scandinavia, I mean, we consume most of the world's, for example, animal products, also coffee, like to the tune of 10x someone in Bangladesh, for example, right? But of course, it's not us that necessarily gets impacted by the negative effects of climate change. It's people in the global south. So it's it's rough. You have a certain responsibility, I think, when you work with coffee as a consuming country as opposed to a producing country. But especially if you are opening a coffee company under the name Noma, because people trust you. We've earned that trust over the last 2 decades of really hard work. But it just means that you have to really acknowledge it and also, hold it, take care of it, So that is for us quite a big focus. All of the farmers that we work with have taken concrete steps towards organic agriculture. Not all of them have the easiest time getting there, but this is something that we're really committed to problem solving. And it's also, worth mentioning that these are not problems that are solved in a harvest cycle in a year, 2 years. I mean, these are really big, complicated things to figure out, and it needs to be done in a responsible way, which is not just, do organic agriculture, but also we need to identify what the scientific resources are that we need to provide in order to do that. So the stage that we're at now is a very early one. The first thing is first, and that's about building relationships, building trust with the farmers that we work with. Because, in order for us to make those big moves, we need to work together and we need to collaborate. And to do that, we need the trust, right?
It's interesting as well, because I think going forward, the future of coffee as well, to add on to that, yes, having that sort of social responsibility with the partner farms that you have, but also even having guarantee of supply is not really a guarantee anymore in coffee because the demand is so high. I think we're getting to a point where a lot of the time now, farmers are going to, if one coffee buyer decides not to buy their coffee, there's another one that'll be behind them that's like, yep, I'm ready. I think so where I'm going with this is like guaranteeing your supply is now probably, and having relationships is probably actually pretty essential to a coffee roaster or even especially an importer now, because the dynamics have completely changed in the space of 5 years.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. That's obviously a really important point. I don't know, what you said made me think about something. I mean, we just opened this bar. We're serving these coffees from Colombia. And the reason that we wanted to work with the supplier that we work with, it's Azahar, which is a Bogota-based green company, is because they have done quite a lot of work for building pricing frameworks around coffee. So we're trying to build like a system through which we can begin to understand pricing, because ultimately, when you boil it down, it is about economics, right? You are infinitely more likely to secure relationships if you pay them more than the other people who want to build the relationship. So we are using the pricing model that they built for the Sustainable Coffee Buyer's Guide. And on average, for example, with the farmers that we work with in Huila, we pay about 40% more than a prosperous price. What does that mean? Well, that is the price of production, the cost of production, assuming that there is no child or spouse labor. And then it's plus 20% for the farmer's personal savings, plus 20% for investments in the farm, and then we're paying, on average, 40% more than that. And I mean, that's really what it takes. And I don't know, like, I remember when I was like a very young barista working in my first specialty coffee shop, having that really tired conversation with like a really conservative German lady who's coming in for an espresso, and trying to explain to her why she should pay the 5 cents more than the cheap coffee shop around the corner. And the first time I came to Copenhagen, sitting in a coffee collective for the first time, and, it felt like almost redundant, that conversation I'd been having, because Coffee Collective has been having that conversation for some years already, So yes, the dynamic has changed, but also, I do think that we start to see a shift towards the positive of, people putting their money where their mouth is, ultimately,
It's really interesting, something you just said in there as well. And by the way, I totally agree with everything you just said, but investing back in the farm, like, I think when you actually go to a coffee farm, you realize that sometimes, I was in Indonesia at the beginning of the year and went and visited some coffee farms there, and I couldn't quite believe how much like manual labor there is for quite medial tasks. Someone's job will literally be to remove pulp from a cherry for 8 hours in a day for a whole harvest. It's like, I could never do that. And, just thinking to myself, like, I asked, was like, is there a machine you can get to do this? And like, yeah, but, it's $50,000. Yeah. So, and then things like that might become essential in the future when there's not as many picking workers, which is a big problem in Central America right now. But I guess like you're right, having that mechanism built in price so that people can reinvest in their farms, because once they do, they can like scale up, they can improve their quality, and having what you were alluding to there, having that dialogue with the customers and being able to understand that. I think that's something that a lot of the Scandinavian roasters do quite well, actually. So, I mean, since I've been here, I've been to La Cabra. That was excellent. Been to April. I've been to Coffee Collective. Been here, and there was one more. I can't remember.
You've been around.
Yeah, I've been around. But like, the price for coffee here compared to Australia is like a lot higher. So I think
the price of everything here is a lot higher.
It is. Like a coffee, like a latte here is like 50 krona, which is
like $8 US, I think.
$8 US,
Euro?
which would be like, $12 Australian.
Yeah.
And I sell like a latte at my shop for $6.
Really?
Yeah. So but obviously we sell a lot more at scale, like we sell a lot more, but getting Australians to pay what Europeans pay for coffee is like, I mean, it'll never happen, but like it's, in a way, it's kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, because, we won't be as competitive buying coffee from, farms and stuff in the future. And I've already noticed a quality decline, because roasters can only afford to buy the same pay the same price for coffee, which just means within the context of the last few years, actually they're just buying lower quality. So
I hear you.
So in a way they're divesting in quality, which is a bit of a shame. So if we don't, like, we're getting there slowly, but like it's a lagging problem that we experience in Australia.
It's also like, again, going back to the idea of opening a roastery as Noma, right? You kind of have to do the right thing. So, I mean, our coffee bags are quite expensive because we pay more, but we have to do that. If we didn't do that, we'd be doing something severely wrong, in my opinion, right? I don't know. There was something that you said that made me think of something. About this idea of like paying a higher price, securing relationships. But then there's another part of that actually that I just was thinking about, which is it's not just about like economic investment. It's also like the acknowledgement of agency. Because I think a lot of times when you pay a higher price for something, you feel this sense of entitlement. It's definitely something I've experienced in a fine dining context, mind you. I mean, we are also paid a lot to do the things that we do, because the things that we do are very scrupulous. But at the end of the day, you also have to be on eye level as well with the person that you're working with. So it's not a dictation of this is what we're going to do with the harvest. It's a what are we going to do? It's a discussion. But furthermore, you can't really judge how they're going to spend that money either. And it made me think of this farmer that we're buying from. Her name's Amparo. She's at least 75 years old. Incredible woman. She's working in Nariño. And Tyler, who's our supplier, he was telling me the story of the first time that he gave her a quality bonus. And they had sort of agreed, it would be great to get some drying beds, because she was drying on patio. She was like, get some drying beds, no problem. And then he came back the next year. He's like, where's the drying beds, Amparo? He was like, let me show you what I invested in. And then she took him around the back of her little house into this like newly built kind of shed thing. And she opened the door. There was just like hundreds of guinea pigs running around. And she had opened like a guinea pig farm, and she like roasts guinea pigs on the weekend. She's won awards for her roasted guinea pig. So on Sundays, she roasts guinea pig out the back of her house. And on the surface of things, you think, but you were meant to invest in the coffee quality. But she's investing in her quality of life, right? She's diversifying her income. And yeah, roasting guinea pigs on a Sunday and being like a world-renowned guinea pig roaster has made her life much easier.
I did not see that turn coming in that story.
Right?
Roasting guinea pigs is very left field. But, like it's very common in coffee farming. A lot of people diversify their crops. Coffee farmers will often grow like avocados and bananas and things like that because, they're within that climate. So you're absolutely right. Like that stuff does happen. I'm interested to know what do you, when you begin working at Noma, how are you taught? Like what do you learn when you're being inducted sort of thing?
Yeah. I think it's worth saying actually, like for the first 2 years of working here, I was on the verge of quitting like the whole time. It's intense, right? Like, so I thought of myself as a quote unquote coffee person. And then I experienced my first ever coffee service and was just like, the waiters were running rings around me. So the context is, in a coffee service, you serve between 60 and 100 drinks. You are one person and you have an hour to brew all of those drinks. And to make things all the more complicated, the service of the menu depends on the service of the drink. So the ideal flow would be that the penultimate dessert is cleared from the table. Within a minute, coffee reaches the table, and within another minute, the last little petit four, which is designed to go with that coffee, reaches the guest. So you have to work with such attention to detail in terms of timing. You have to be constantly hearing the kitchen. It's like, it's a lot. And then we would change we would reopen the restaurant every 3 months. So just as you find your feet, the restaurant closes and it reopens again with a whole new menu, whole new beverage, like everything is different. I was just like, how the fuck are all these people doing this? But I think a big way that we learn how to cope in this environment and flourish, you have to learn that everyone has something to teach. So there's this principle called Jendelo in Danish, which is the basic idea is that humility is a very, highly touted virtue. So, for example, a CEO might not necessarily have his own office in a company. He might work with everyone else. And at Noma, we make a system around teaching people. So how that might work is that in the front of house team, you might not play the same role for 2 services in a row. So one day you might be greeting guests, controlling the flow of people through the restaurant. One day you might be in charge of a section with 3 tables. One day you might be a barista. One day you might be sculpting plates out of wax, which means that on some of those days, you're the teacher, knowing that role really well, teaching it to someone. And on other days, you might be the student, not knowing that role very well and learning it from someone else. And irrespective of your seniority, you have something to teach and you have something to learn, because as the restaurant is constantly changing, there's always something new to learn. And I think that this is a really valuable thing. It teaches people to have agency. It teaches people to have confidence. And it basically is like it's like a leader generation machine. Like everyone is capable of leading. Everyone is capable of teaching.
There is, of everyone I've met here so far, there is an air of confidence. I think everyone seems like very, from what I can tell, very sure of themselves, and I think that reflects.
I think that's necessary in order for you to break rules. So I think we often imagine that fine dining is like buttons up to the top and you're very, rule oriented. And the thing is, when you have very stiff rules, if you follow them, you do a good job. It's quite straightforward, actually. But you have to hold confidence in order to bend them,
Do you find yourself bending rules often?
Yeah, often. I mean, it's a restaurant that that built its notoriety based on the idea it didn't have tablecloths, which of course back then was radical. But I think we're conditioned to look for opportunities and to be very open. So if a decision means we break a rule, but it makes the experience of the guest better, we do it.
So what's an example of that?
Actually, I told this story the other day, and it's kind of funny because it's coffee related. So this one night, a guest came to visit. He was knackered, like just came off the red-eye flight. He was absolutely exhausted. And to make the matter all the more like kind of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like sensitive. He was meeting his girlfriend's parents for the first time.
Oh.
Right? And they come into the lounge area at the restaurant. So it's this room that you come for after dinner drinks. They're the first table in the lounge. And he looks at me, he's like, please bring me a giant cup of coffee. And I'm looking at this situation, we're thinking, what can we do to help this guy, They're the only table in the room. You can cut the nervous energy with a knife. I'm like, giant cup of coffee. The cups, these beautiful, delicate ceramic cups, that's not quite going to do it. But then we saw this like giant teapot. And when I say giant, I mean it holds 10 liters of liquid. So, when someone is served a 5-liter cup of coffee, you can't help but laugh, right?
Mm.
And that's a very wrong thing to do in the context of a fine dining experience. But sometimes you just got to do something to break the tension and make people feel more comfortable. And it can be something as like kind of silly as that, but it can also just be in how you carry yourself and how you communicate. It's not sir or madam, but it's like, looking people in the eye, addressing them like as yourself,
How much coffee was in that teapot that you gave?
Not 5 liters. I mean, I'm not trying to waste coffee, but at least a liter.
Was it successful?
It was successful, yeah.
Excellent.
And I mean, hopefully it's something that they talk about at Christmas,
Mm.
But yeah.
Oh, that time Carolyne gave us the big teapot.
That massive teapot of coffee. Yeah.
So do you, back to this venue now, so just to refresh everyone, we're inside the venue of Noma Cafe here in Copenhagen. Do you feel the weight of being Noma and then doing this? Like, do you feel like this has to go well, or because obviously best restaurant in the world, I think it's pretty regular for people to expect coffee should be somewhat near that.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Well, I think even with the restaurant, I mean, we have always done what we think is best. And as long as we can say we have done the best job that we possibly can, we've been happy. I mean, at the end of the day, you cannot please everyone. And I remember the first time I heard about Noma, I was just trawling through YouTube and kind of figuring out what is this place. And one of the videos was Renee accepting the first like best restaurant award, and he's like, they called us the stinking whale, they called us the seal fuckers, because Noma was serving such strange ingredients, like people derided them for a very long time, and even still, we have our critics. It's always going to be the case, but I know that if we do everything that we possibly can to make it as good as it can be, and we engage the sense of responsibility, we work with it, and we really attack it and go for it, I know that it's going to be something to stand behind. And I already feel that it is. But of course I feel the pressure, of course. But
well, so far you're delivering from, like I get to try a lot of really exquisite coffee. I'm very fortunate to be able to travel and do this. And
cheers, mate.
My vocation is coffee and coffee and coffee. And the coffee that I had here were excellent. It's very Scandinavian style.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm like seeing the level of detail with like the management team when you close up service and stuff like that, and cleaning this up, and you've got, you know, an amazing retail section over there, and things presumably pickling or fermenting over there. Are they little? Are they like? They look like massive habanero chilies or baby capsicums. I'm not sure which one it is.
We developed, I think, was it we that developed, or did we do it with a farm in collaboration? But anyway, it was developed. A chili called the Copenhagen boot pepper, which is as spicy as a ghost pepper. And there was one, like we filmed a scene for Omnivore, which is this documentary series that we did, right? And we did one episode about spice. So we filmed this scene where we executed a service after everyone had eaten a pepper. And holy Christ, this thing was spicy.
Right.
Yeah. So this is, I think, a little nod to that, but it's also like, we like spice.
Yeah.
Now that we've been to Mexico a few times, we really like spice.
Yeah, no, it's, I'm looking at them. They look hot. they look real hot.
But actually, I just realized the most concise way to answer your prior question, because like I tend to blab, and sorry, I've been opening a cafe, so I'm not at my best. But whenever we open the restaurant for a new season, Renee always says the same thing, and it's kind of become a cliche at this point, but it's totally right what he asks us. He asks us, are you nervous in a good way or a bad way? You have to be nervous. If you care about something that you're doing, you have to be nervous, right? But about this, I feel nervous in a good way.
That's a good way to put it, actually. I really reflected on that when you just said that. It's like, how can you feel nervous in a good or bad way? And you know, I definitely can relate. He's a bit of a visionary in a way. Like how long's this restaurant been open for now?
23 years.
23 years. And he founded it.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he's been running a restaurant for 23 years.
Yeah, he's found his zen. I mean, we've got a little sauna in the back garden now, so he's found his zen. Yeah.
Okay. And is his main focus these days focusing on the fermentation side of things, or?
I mean, he's over everything. Yeah. We're growing in a lot of different directions right now. Of course, like one of the like primary parts of his job is tasting what the test kitchen is coming up with and making final decisions on menus. But he more or less makes final decisions on every single big question for the company. So it's been kind of amazing to observe how the team has changed, because obviously when I started 7.5 years ago, we were just a restaurant at that point. And now we are so many teams doing so many different things. And we've observed like so many people grow into these leadership positions, and him kind of stepping back and giving people the space to kind of define things for themselves. But he's always there to support with creatives, to support with final decisions. And I say support because that's how it feels like nowadays, actually. It's pretty incredible.
And I'm really curious about this because with coffee, and I've spoken about this a number of times on the podcast, it's an industry that's somewhat in its infancy, like the specialty coffee industry is, because like, you know, we're still learning collectively how to do everything at a really high level. And, you know, whereas I think wines had, you know, a lot more capital per se, and of course it's grown in a lot more developed countries. So there's, you know, a little bit more capital to go around there. So coffee just has a few more unique challenges. And I think what excites me about Noma being involved in coffee, and I know you said that you're trying to just do the basics right and these sorts of things and establish yourselves. But I think what really excites me about Noma being involved in coffee is the potential for collaboration in processing. And I can totally envision producers wanting to work with you guys, and it's not like and I'm not suggesting this is my suggestion here. So, but I just think there's an unbelievable opportunity for both Noma and coffee producers to collaborate and learn from each other and really elevate each other. And I just that's actually such a big hope of mine that, for you guys, is that develops in the next couple of years, because there's IP, there's data that you guys have collected, there's knowledge that you have that just like it could help so much, and I look forward to, I hope for, and I inevitably feel like that's what's going to happen.
Watch this space.
Watch this space. But to that end, to you, like, do you feel like there's something that?
So yes and no. Like I said before, like agency is a really important value to us. So there are going to be some instances where a coffee farmer like really wants that, and there are going to be some instances where they really don't. There's a farmer that we are kind of working out if we're going to collaborate in Peru, who's like a mega nerd about processing and very scientific about it. I can imagine like he would gladly stage for a little bit in the fermentation lab and probably use a lot of those lessons. And there are others that wouldn't. So I don't know. I think it's something we have to kind of figure out as we go, because it can very easily turn into this idea of just like adding additives. And there's a reason that we only work with natural, quote unquote, natural winemakers or minimal intervention winemakers, where we try to just grapes, nothing else, right? So we need to kind of work out the balance and figure out what feels authentic to us and what feels authentic to the farmers that we work with, and then take it from there. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to find out, I have no idea what the roastery is going to look like in 2 years, and that's part of the fun.
Yeah, it is. And I think Copenhagen itself is a little incubator for amazing things in hospitality. And so, Noma being one of them. And Poma, so not Noma, Poma.
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 Yeah, Rasmus, did you ever think on the table when you were like setting up, you were like, oh yeah, but don't worry, Noma's never going to open a coffee roastery, so it's going to be fine. Just call it Poma. Sorry, I'm joking.
Yeah, Rasmus. But
what's going on, man?
But anyway, it's
I'm completely joking.
Both in name and in nature. There's a lot of synergy there, and to enlighten the listeners for this one. So Poma basically, so Rasmus Nadsen, who started it, is an agronomist who also previously worked as a barista, but specializes in fruit cultivation of particularly apples and pears. Started a greenhouse with the University of Copenhagen, I think it is, some university here. So basically they grow coffee inside of a climate-controlled greenhouse, mimicking conditions at origin. And it is fantastic. Like, he grows geisha that is world-class. And honestly, I would love to see you guys link up in the future when it comes to, because if you ever wanted to experiment on processing, you don't need to really go to Peru or to Colombia. Just go down the road to see Erasmus. And
yeah, you're quite right.
That's but where I'm going with this is as well, like, this has been an unbelievable trip for me, because there's such enthusiasm for some of those things in Copenhagen for coffee and for hospitality. I think it's been incredible. If you're thinking about coming to Copenhagen, do it.
Yeah, nice. It's funny, like, when you were speaking just then, it made me think of something. Like, I was talking to an importer the other day, and he was describing the coffee landscape 15 years ago. And he was like, yeah, you have to imagine that the same two coffee roasteries would be fighting for the same teeny tiny client. And that client might be the only specialty coffee shop for like a 500 kilometer radius. And they'd be a tiny account, right? So then you'd have the situation of like, one roastery would never dream of looking at a coffee that another roastery was roasting. And like the politics of the coffee scene were a bit different. And I remember hearing some stories of my own from back in the day as well. And at the moment, it just feels like such a collaborative industry. Like the Poma guys, just because you mentioned them, we share the same co-roasting space at the moment. And they feel like colleagues. And we're very friendly with each other. And I don't know, you mentioned La Capra as well earlier. I mean, you know, we and John import this from the same Mexican supplier. So, you know, why not co-ship together in all of this? Yeah, it feels really exciting because it feels like there's a lot of new expressions and lots of kind of colleagueships, and we're kind of working together to problem solve for each other, even if our aims are like slightly different. It's really cool.
Well, it's interesting with Danish coffee roasters as well, because they pop up a lot overseas. So in Melbourne, there's a couple of shops that always import April, always import
that's cool.
Coffee Collective, and same with La Cabra as well. So like you see them all pretty frequently. So I mean, wouldn't be surprised to see some Noma soon. Well, I'll probably take it back and brew it at my cafe. So
nice.
Yeah. So you kindly gave me a bag of coffee just before. I'm looking forward to brewing it. And you hand sort all your coffee as well?
Yeah, we do at the moment, pending a color sorter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, part of it is clarity of flavor, and part of it is don't ask the farmer to do something that you won't do yourself kind of thing. But yeah, we do hand sort everything. We will at one point get a color sorter. I'm looking very much forward to that day.
Yeah. Well, it's a huge investment, and like you really do taste it, right? Like, I mean, the coffees that I was lucky enough to have here yesterday.
Thanks,
sensational.
mate. Really appreciate it. We did this one experiment the other day where we had Luis Ortega's geisha, and then all of the defects that we sorted out of the geisha, and then made a brew of both, and just like took it around the restaurant. And observing people's reactions to the defects was kind of fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. I did actually see that little there was a little video you guys put up.
Oh yeah, do we make some content?
Yeah, so I did see. What's the craziest thing that you've seen the chefs fermenting in there?
Reindeer penis? I don't know.
Actually?
Yeah. Bee larvae? I don't know. We tried to make a soy sauce out of green coffee. That did not go very well.
You had a chef ferment a reindeer penis?
Yeah. We've served reindeer penis in the restaurant.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea. I saw I was watching a video before of like fish eyeball, but
That was not so delicious.
Look, I did not imagine that. So,
but I mean, a lot of the reindeer offal is like a delicacy for the Sami. The Sami is a tribe living at the north of Norway, and they cultivate reindeer. And often, like the penis, the brain, the tongue, these are cuts that is actually quite difficult to get because they like to keep it for themselves. It's their like highest delicacy. So we've served all of the above and a lot of other strange things as well.
how do guests react to seeing that on the menu?
I mean, it's a mixed response, right? With some guests, they're going to be so reactive that you kind of don't want to tell them. You kind of have to tell them. You get a range. There's a lot of people who find it like the most hilarious thing in the world, the most disgusting thing in the world, the most normal thing in the world. I mean, every reaction under the sun, right?
And what's been the most delicious thing you think you've tried here?
Oh, the most delicious. Oh, that's really tough. I've had a lot of delicious things. I'm very, very lucky.
Were you working?
Oh man, I can't answer it. I actually can't answer it.
Well, I went to Popple the other day and had the so that's a subsidiary of Noma, I guess you'd say, the burger shop that you guys are doing. And I had the fried fish katsu, but it had this sauce or jus with it or something that had rose water and some vinaigrette or something, and it was unbelievable. That
black currant wood oil.
That's what it's called?
No, if it's like a vinaigrette, I reckon it's probably black currant wood oil. That stuff tastes amazing.
Yeah.
It's like a hack. But the thing is, and this is the thing about the fermentation lab, it's a little bit like a cheat code for flavor, right? So what are you doing when you're making barley koji? You are turning the starch in the barley to sugar, and the brain thinks that sugar's delicious. So that's kind of like a cheat. Or what you're doing when you're making garum, you're turning proteins into amino acids. And again, the brain thinks that's really delicious. So at the moment, like, it's not necessarily the case that the fermentation is at the forefront of the dish, but it's like, it's in every mouthful in the restaurant.
I'm still not over reindeer penis. I'm
sorry.
I'm not thinking about it. I'm like, damn, that actually happened. But yeah, like I was watching some videos just today and saw like stale bread was something that one time the chefs decided they'd test ferment or something like that. And
but you know, Hart Bakery's rye bread, it's got like a miso in it, in the rye bread that's made of old rye bread.
Right.
No, rye.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Good one.
But yeah, like you can do a lot. I mean, I think the primary objective for us is always deliciousness, but there's also a lot of other restaurants like building fermentation programs with lots of different, objectives as well. Silo in London's one of them, right? I think they've just closed actually.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. But they've started a fermentation company. That's really cool.
There you go. Good pivot.
Yeah.
So you said this closes how many times a year?
Well, the restaurant, so we close for several weeks at a time and then we go on holidays and then we come back and reopen the restaurant. So usually that's 4 times a year. And then if we've done a pop-up, like a longer holiday.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, so it's just like to refresh the team and change the menu sort of thing, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But then when we reopen, it's like all of the decoration is different. All of the beverages, teas, coffees, food, the whole menu changes. The plateware.
I guess that's a good way of keeping you so stimulated, right? Because if things just stay the same, even like with the space and the arrangement and the decor, then like it's one of those subconscious things that you don't really think about. But I guess like changing the foundations beneath you, like just reinvigorates your ability to like serve well. And part of that, I guess, is being refreshed, learning, having some of your environment change. Is that kind of some of the benefits of it, do you think? Or
yeah, and I think success can turn you complacent, right? So the way that Renee talks about it is like success is like a comfy couch. You really don't want to get up. So making yourself uncomfortable in a good way is helpful. It helps keep you sharp. And when we get a little bit too comfortable with even the flow of changing the restaurant, that's when a pop-up is necessary. And on those pop-ups, maybe I should contextualize for the audience. Every now and then we do a pop-up in a different country, which means taking the whole team, spouses, children, a dog came the last time, to another country. And then we imagine that Noma had always existed in that country. So the most recent example being Kyoto. But for those pop-ups, they're like life-changing experiences. And I've seen so many people like flourish and come into themselves on those.
And so you've gone on these trips?
Yeah. The last 2.
So you've been to Kyoto and?
Kyoto.
So you did 2
Twice,
in Kyoto? Yeah. Kyoto's an amazing city.
Incredible. I love Kyoto.
Just riding your bike around. There's that great big river in between. There's a ramen place that I went to it is still to this day the best ramen I've ever had, but I can't remember the name of it.
No?
It evades me, but it was in Kyoto.
Nice.
Yeah.
A lot of good things are.
they truly are. Do you know if there's any plans to go somewhere else next?
We're going to LA in the spring, and then there are plans for the next one, but I mean, I don't even know where that is.
Renee seems like he's quite an interesting leader. And so like, hearing these things of, him saying, are you nervous in a good or a bad way, or the comfy couch analogy. And interesting to see he rides his bike to and from work every day, I mean, that's a very general Copenhagen thing, but like, he's committed to the cause. He's riding that bike all the time. Like,
100%.
It's, sometimes when people experience success, they, take on these different luxuries, and he's just, OGing on that bike with a basket on the front.
His dog in the basket, Ponzu.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like it's a very interesting trait in someone.
That's Yendelo.
Yandelo.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before, the Danish sensibility of being humble. It's funny that I was. This is going to sound like such a stupid thing, but I was reading the Edda the other day, like the Poetic Edda, which is like this ancient Norse text, and it references Yendalo back then, which is something like 900 AD. Don't like fact check me on that because I don't know, but it's a very, very old concept, and it sort of defines the Scandinavian personality, this humility.
Yeah, I got to read it. The Edda.
The Edda, yeah.
Edda.
It's just like a bunch of poems about Norse gods and like speaking to death and, you know.
if you being involved in the fine dining scene as you are, what are some of your favorite restaurants that you've been to in the world?
Oh mate, I just like good and humble stuff. Like I'm actually a big cook. Like I love cooking for myself. I don't spend a lot of time in restaurants actually.
Oh.
Specifically because it feels too much like work.
Yeah.
So I just love really good produce. So I would drive for a very long time to get some really good vegetables and then cook them.
Right.
That's more my yeah.
What's the number one dish? What's the Caro special?
The Caro special. Oh shit. I'm really bad at like. It probably wouldn't be a dish, but like if I've got some really great beetroots, I'm gonna find the best way to cook those beetroots, and I'll probably have that with like a slice of bread and some
Very Aussie.
really good olive oil. I don't know.
Beetroot's an Australian vegetable, is it not?
Is it?
I think it is.
No.
I think it might be.
Really? Is it an Australian export? Is it like the Mayan potato? The Aussie beetroot?
I'm trying to. I'll have to fact check after this, but it's.
You're gonna have to do a lot of fact checking for this.
Well, yes, no, I will. But the Australians like love beetroot on like burgers and like all sorts of things. Pickled beetroot's really good. Apparently, beetroot juice, if you juice it, is one of the best things for athletes to consume. I was reading that once. I don't know what the properties are, but apparently it's like unbelievably good for you.
What? Really?
So I've read in the magazine.
Well, you see, I'm in my athletic phase at the moment, so I better get myself some beetroot juice.
What's your sport of choice?
I don't know. I just started roasting a couple of years ago, so I've been trying to like lift weights.
Yeah,
I'm trying to do the Maxwell Colonna Dashwood, like fucking.
Oh, he's a machine. Maxwell's the best. I'm hoping I'll be at Host Milan in a few weeks. Will you be there?
I won't be. No. I'll be here.
Well, I suppose you've got things to do, but I
mean, do you even roast coffee if you don't bench press the coffee sacks? That's my question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, I suppose you'll have to get to the gym for that one.
Yeah.
But hey, look, we've been going for nearly an hour. You've worked all day, so I won't keep you. But last question.
Yeah, go on.
What's one thing we haven't spoken about that you would like everyone to know?
Oh, that I'd like everyone to know. Just like, come drink a cup of coffee. I don't know.
Noma, Copenhagen.
Yeah, mate,
it's beautiful here.
Have a stroll in the garden. I mean, you can't tell now because it's dark, but it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Interestingly enough, I've never, ever imagined a country, local government or anything pulling off a rubbish smelter so well.
I was literally thinking of that when you mentioned, because it's probably in view, no? Like the little red light.
It, but for the listener, there's a garbage smelter across the road where you guys burn rubbish and turn it into electricity, yeah? And it looks like the building's really nice, and they've got actually a slope that during winter they turn into a ski slope. So, literally burning, the city's rubbish, turning it into electricity, and then there's a ski slope, and it's just across the road, and it doesn't look that bad.
Just while we're on while we've already set the expectation that the audience should fact check everything I say, I'm going to say another thing that they should fact check about the ski slope building. So I heard, now I might be wrong on this, but I definitely heard it, that when they were building the blueprint for this building, it was a fantastic idea. Great, fantastic. By the time they built it, the city of Copenhagen didn't produce enough trash to power the furnace, and they had to start importing trash from overseas. Isn't that the most Danish problem you've ever heard?
Oh, yeah. It's
if it indeed is a problem that exists.
Well, I think it did happen. Sweden imports rubbish because they
Oh, yeah?
have a similar problem.
Wow.
China does it, but I don't know if they deal with it so well as you guys do. But that is a very Danish problem, you know.
We actually went on a school trip, school trip, the front of house go on these trips to different suppliers and stuff. But we did a school trip over to the trash burning place. It looks like the Death Star on the inside.
Really?
It's amazing. It's like this big cavernous industrial thing with like walkways and like sliding walkways and just like, it's so complex and there are just tubes and wires everywhere. And then you just hear the furnace fucking going. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like proper intense.
I'm a massive Star Wars nerd too, so that
Oh, you are?
that analogy hits well.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's proper Death Star.
Okay, I want to go in now. I mean, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to London tomorrow. So
nice.
yeah. Any
Say hi to London for me.
I will. I'm sure they'll be glad to hear from you. Anywhere I should go in London?
I might just see some free art. I miss London. I miss London for the exhibitions and all the culture. Have some culture. Go to Proof Rock and have a coffee and like, have a nice stroll along the Thames. I don't know.
I'm gonna have my weight in banoffee because
Sick.
Banoffee is just
That's so.
it's like banoffee to me is like that red thing that people put in the Raging of the Bulls, like when they're trying to bait the bull to run at them. Like just put a banoffee out. And I'll just run at you like that.
I was raised on banoffee. Is
Yeah.
that a proper English thing?
From my
I've never seen
understanding.
it anywhere else.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I think it is. It's definitely an English thing, right?
Mate, yeah,
And
that with a little cheeky espresso is job's a good one.
I also thought I was Italian until recently.
Banoffee.
But
Sorry.
I was really, because my great grandparents were apparently Italian. But anyway, I got a DNA test on the previous podcast that I did. Not one bit Italian, allegedly.
Really?
I'm Scottish, so I'm like.
I see that for you.
I'm pretty.
It's pretty beardy.
I'm pretty well
Is that
full blown
Scottish?
Scottish. So I don't know. I don't think I'll have time to go there this time around, but I've got to go. I've got to go see my
Pearson.
people.
Pearson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Irish,
yeah.
Scottish, something like that. But anyway, let's get you out of here. Thanks so much for letting us in to do this. This is
Yeah,
an
of course.
awesome opportunity for me and for everyone watching and listening. So look,
It's a fun way to wrap up the weekend.
Opening
The
weekend.
weekend of craziness. Yeah.
like 2 days and we got an interview in here. I can't believe it. But anyway, thanks so much.
yeah. Thanks for being here.
Carolyne Lane, everyone. You'll remember the name for a long time, I'm sure.
Thank you, Kirk Pearson.
No worries. All right, I'm hitting end record now. Over.